Hello, loves, and welcome back to Musey's Modern Dreadfuls. There is so much information I want to give you, so please wait till the end of the stories. That's when I always give you a little channel update, but there's a huge collab coming up on Dr. Creepin's channel, and wanted to tell you that now. And let's just get into a story or two, shall we? Here we go. Last night, I got a reCAPTCHA. There was something horribly wrong with it. Have you ever seen a photo reCAPTCHA? Instead of a checkbox, it's a low-quality photo split into 16 square sections. It'll say something like, select all the squares with street signs, and you have to click every square that contains a street sign. At 11 p.m. on Sunday night, I got one while downloading pre-stock images. It was a photo of a path through the forest. Select all squares with people, it said. Okay, that was easy enough. In the center, there was a jogging woman in pink shorts. She took up a few of the middle squares, and I clicked them all. I pressed verify. It didn't work. Select all squares with people, the message said again. I took off my glasses, placed them on the table, and squinted at the image. No, she was the only person. Several feet off the trail, at the very edge of the image, I could see it. The edge of an arm clad in a black sweatshirt with a pink thumb poking out. I triumphantly clicked the 2 squares containing it. Verify! The image blinked as it refreshed. Then the same text popped up, as if to taunt me. Select all squares with people. I rubbed my eyes and stared at the image. The trees cast low-resolution, blocky shadows across the path. The woman's ponytail swung to the left mid-motion. Patches of yellow sunlight dappled the surrounding forest. I studied some of the darker shadows far from the path, but none of them matched the silhouette of a person. I glanced to the edge of the image. No. The image had changed. The arm at the edge of the photo was now further in the frame, taking up 3 squares instead of 2. Bulky shoulders and dark jeans followed it. And the jogger was just slightly further down the path, as if she'd taken a step. The touchpad was slick under my fingers. My heart pounded in my chest. Slowly, I dragged the cursor over the 3 squares and clicked them all. Verify. The image blinked. Select all squares with people. I leapt back from the computer. The image was different again. The man was further in the frame, taking up 5 squares. His hand was stretched out toward the jogger, just inches from her shoulder. And the jogger, she was turned toward him, eyes wide, mouth open in a silent scream. Click, 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 click. I furiously clicked all the squares. Verify. Loading. Select all squares with people. The man's face was finally in the frame. The hood of his sweatshirt was pulled tightly over his head. A translucent Halloween mask poked from underneath, pressed against his features. His hand was latched onto her arm. She was screaming. Click, 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 click. Verify. The image disappeared. I passed the reCAPTCHA. I reported what I'd seen to the police. At first, they thought I was crazy, but as I gave a detailed description of the images, they frantically took notes and asked me questions. The woman matched the description of a local woman, Kaylee Johnson. She went missing a week ago during an afternoon jog on the wooded Lakewood Trail. She was never found. And that was a short, creepy story by Reddit user and author in general, Blair Daniels. And I am going to treat you to another little ditty. Here we go. Have you looked at the rain recently? It's not water. I first noticed it when I was waiting for the bus. It was raining. Harder than it had all month, all year, in fact. Everyone was crammed into the glass hutch, looking miserable, apparently without umbrellas. I stared at the scene, trying to decide which was worse, getting wet or rubbing butts with strangers. It was an easy decision. I stood in the muddy grass. The rain pattered on my skin, soaking my shirt. Rivulets ran down my forehead, dripping into my eyes. I reached to wipe them away. I froze. The rainwater felt different. It was mildly slippery, like a cross between water and oil. I wet my fingers and rolled them against each other. Eyebrows nodded. At first I thought it was my imagination, but one look at the road told me it wasn't. Cars were going much slower than usual on this road, maybe 20 miles an hour, and the ones that went faster seemed to careen toward the gutter as if skidding. I pulled out my phone and began to type "rain in Bloomfield." That's when I heard the scream. I looked up. Across the sloshing mess of the street, two women were yelling and pointing at a man that had just exited Starbucks. "You're bleeding! Are you all right?" At first I thought he was wearing some sort of white shirt with red polka dots, but as the rain beat down on him, the shirt grew redder. "Call an ambulance!" one of them said. I squinted at the scene, confused. "I'm fine, really. I don't know what's going on," the man said. "Please, don't call anyone." That's when I figured it out. The red dots were where the raindrops had fallen. Red lines ran down his face and arms, dripping onto the sidewalk, tinting the puddles pink. "I'm fine, really." 3 days later, I saw his face on the news. John Allard, 45, was arrested for murdering his wife in their home on Tuesday night. The trial will be held. "That's the guy," I said, pointing wildly to the TV. "He's the one I told you about, out in the rain." Molly barely looked up. "Oh, that's nice," she said as she rummaged through the kitchen cabinets. Over the next few weeks, more people were caught in the rain. And upon touching a few, that rain ran blood red, staining their clothes just like their hearts. Always within a few days, they turned to some act of violence, whether it be murder, assault, or stalking some unwilling victim of their desire. The town of Bloomfield was in a state of chaos, a state of confusion. No one knew what was going on or what to do about it. Last night, we had another storm. Rain pounded across the back door. Lightning flashed across the purple sky. I stood out on the deck under the awning of the house, just watching. "Molly, come out here. It's beautiful." "The soup's getting cold, Rick," her voice called out from the kitchen. Lines of lightning flashed, cracking and webbing across purple clouds. "Nature's fireworks show," Molly always said. "You love thunderstorms," I called back. The rain picked up tempo, cutting into the awning. "Come out here and see it." She came to the door. "No, come in and eat dinner with me," she said through the screen. "Just for a moment. It's sort of romantic. Come on." She sighed. "Okay, fine." Molly stepped cautiously out onto the deck. I threw my arms around her, and we stood there for a few moments, just watching the lightning flash. But then a gust of wind blew through, sending a spray of raindrops into my face. "Sorry about that," I said, turning toward her. "Maybe I shouldn't have forced you out here after all." I froze. Beads of blood stuck to her cheek. Molly?" "What?" She turned toward me. As she did, her arm poked slightly from the awning. The rain glanced off of it, turning to a deep crimson. I backed away. "Rick, wait," she said, her eyes widening with recognition. With soft smacks, more drops hit her face. They dripped down her cheeks in dark lines. I ran into the house. Click. I closed the door and turned the lock. "Rick, please open the door," she said as her shirt turned red and bloody. I turned away and picked up the phone. The police found a bottle of ethylene glycol in the kitchen cupboard, half of it missing. I like to think that the rain caused her to do it, that all of us are innocent in Bloomfield and are being manipulated by some unknown chemical dropping from the skies, choosing people to turn into monsters. But I found the receipt for the poison. It was dated 6 months ago. It continues to rain here in Bloomfield. Every time I see the gray storm clouds overhead, my stomach ties up in knots, wondering what evil will be revealed. But they've gotten smarter. When I drive down Main Street in the rain, only a few stragglers remain. The rest stay inside. And the ones that do walk out, well, they're smart enough to use their umbrellas. That was another little story by Blair Daniels. Thank you so much, Blair Daniels. Featuring more of her work, I was introduced to her work by a fellow creator, and she's so nice and fabulous to work with. And she's a published author, both online and has books. So there you go. If you enjoy reading as well, by all means, pick up her work. She's fabulous. I also have a great short story, but it's going to take a little bit of time, by Mr. Obscure himself, also known as Reddit user Hyper Obscura, or Mr. Obscure is easiest for me to say. So bing bang boom, you heard the outro, the story's over. So again, reminder, it's probably this weekend that there's going to be a huge collab. It's something that Dr. Creepin will be playing on his channel. It was an idea that a bunch of us just pair off and perform, and he agreed to throw it up on his channel so more people could see it, because he's a great narrator, creator, and just a great guy. So do check that out. I will try to update you. The channel is growing, and very soon, I hope, it's been like a year now, we will be taking off, but I gotta get this out to you, so let's end the conversation here, and I will see you guys soon. Okay, bye now.